You know what? I've been with comics that like had a long-term relationship, not even married, and recently go through a breakup, and they're like, "Oh, I need to start saying my ex-girlfriend on stage
Mm-hmm.
to like help them also get over it."
Oh, a comic after a breakup. Oh,
Oh
when you
yeah.
see these dudes, that's where they get it out.
Oh.
You're like, oh,
Oh.
you are, oh. We go to therapy. We talk to our friends. We have wine. We go on power walks. They get on stage and they're like, oh, like
That's where they're so sad.
it is. It comes out. Mhm.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast where we're changing the name. I am your co-host, Erica Spera.
Hi, and I'm Teresa Degatano. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, welcome. So far, we've been getting some feedback from behind the paywall on these episodes ahead of time. So thank you. Shout out to the Patreon for giving us your feedback. So far, the name Too Much Personality has been in the lead, which I've been liking. It's growing on me. That's what I've been thinking so far.
I do too. TMP too. Too much personality.
Yeah.
I like it because I've got a personality, and so do you, Spera.
I know. I also feel like I need to address up top. I felt like the episode ended a little on a low note last time. I got a little emotional. But to no surprise, 2 days later, boom. There's the period. There it is.
Here it
As it
is.
happens. I knew it too. I was like, that's not like me. And then all of a sudden I was like, here we are. Okay, the PMS was hitting. It just comes, it hits you. I've had like my hands in a lot of pots. Like I said, I've been a little stressed out on a few different things. So I want to thank you for going on this journey with me because, I just hate to feel like I'm bringing like the room down. You don't want to feel like you're bringing the mood down of everything because I just have so much fun with you here. Like I love doing this with you. So I felt bad. I felt like I brought everything down.
No, thanks, girl. Me too. No, I love doing this with you too. So no, but it's real stuff, real talk. You got to get it out.
Yeah.
This is, there's people that are at home listening and that they feel this bad stuff that they're like, oh man, especially the period stuff because dudes don't understand. We just be going along just fine, and all of a sudden you're like, why are you crying? You're like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I had a moment.
Just comes at you.
It does. It does.
Out of nowhere.
There's a guy so on my way to my workout classes, which are for my New York City people, I'm on the west side. They're on the east side. So I walk across Central Park in the morning. It's a very beautiful walk. Well, there's a man, and I want to say he has special needs. I'm not sure what the needs are, but I started saying hi to him every morning. I see him out there. He's feeding the birds, and his name is Jose. And I was like, hi, Jose. And he always has a big smile on his face. And then when I turned and walked away, I teared up. I was like, what was that? It just hits you. My ex-boyfriend his son has special needs. And I was like, it's just like, I was like, get it together, girl. You got to go to this class. You got some burpees to do. And so, but we love you. And listen, you're vulnerable. And that's great. You're human. Human.
It happens. I know. Or something too, I guess, to update on to the people here listening. I have been feeling like a little down about like some comedy career stuff, like my Don't Tell set did come out this week, the week that we're recording. I know we're recording like ahead of time. So apologies if some things people are like, this isn't adding up as I'm listening. The behind the scenes in the biz, all right, you got to rack up episodes. We're working our kinks out here. So some of this isn't going to add up in real time, but bear with us, all right? My Don't Tell set came out, so I was very excited about that. But like in general with comedy stuff, I've felt like a lot of times in the business, we get things, but then also things kind of feel like they're taken away from us, or you feel like, where am I going? What should I be focusing on? And like I was back in town in New York, and I feel like I haven't been like in at the Cellar. And I was back for like kind of almost 2 weeks, and I only got like one spot the whole time. And it gets to you, You feel like, what happened? What did I do? What did I do wrong? And the other side of you is like, you can't dwell on it. You can't dwell. You got to just be like grateful for what you get and focus on like the things that give you love, the things that you enjoy. And so I'm like, what I'm enjoying right now? I am very much enjoying doing this with you. So I'm very grateful for that. So that was my like talking to God. So
We're starting with talking to God. Well, that was good.
I
And
mean,
that's
indirectly, but I
indirectly.
was like, other clubs like Gotham Comedy Club has always booked me. They've always liked me. I was in town. I did more spots there. And I'm like, you know what? You have that. Like, you still have that. They've always liked you.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of just what it is. And I've talked to other comics that have been through, the same thing that I have, where they're like, yeah, there's kind of no rhyme or reason sometimes. And like, you can't let it get to you where you think, like, oh, am I bad at this? Like, what did
Mm-hmm.
I do? They're like, it's just how it is. Like, clubs have their favorites, and like, hey, maybe that's just like not the place you work anymore. And it's just one place at the end of the day. But it's just hard when it's like, it was always like a dream of mine to get in there and work there. But at the same time, it's like you work clubs that I don't work,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's like, I don't feel any jealousy in that part either. I'm like, I'm very happy for you where you get your work and many of my other friends in comedy. So it's like, hey, a lot of times you have to kind of, the way you are happy for like your friends in this business when you see them get things, it's funny that like sometimes I struggle to be like happy for myself with the
Mm-hmm.
things that I am getting, and we focus on the things that we're not getting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to be like, hey, you have to just like appreciate the stuff that you do get and like go where you are appreciated and you are loved. Like, have you ever seen this clip? It actually like resurfaced for me. Have you ever seen this clip of this like God, like world renowned violinist, and they did this experiment. They like put him in the New York City subways playing, and
Yes.
like nobody gave him tips or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then like turns out he's like one of the leading like people that play at Carnegie Hall, and like he sells out Carnegie Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very like go where you're appreciated. I have to kind of get over that mentally. So anyway, all those things kind of happen. That's kind of like my personal comedy update of the week. It was just like, all right, but then like the don't tell set comes out and you're like, hey, that was another thing you like really wanted and really like wanted to get, and you got that. So like
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to also just like celebrate that. And like I got plenty of like really nice messages and people like sharing that, and I was like, okay, yeah, you get your flowers sometimes in the business and sometimes you feel like you don't. And you know you kind of just have to like keep moving and grooving and like doing the things you enjoy. So
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of my reflection. And again, I feel like I'm bringing the room down, but it is like,
No.
if we're here
No,
to be honest and just talk about things, I'm like, that's kind of what I was going through with all that stuff that
no,
week as well.
that's a great reflection, because I was going to say you have to go where the love is. You do. I
Yeah.
was going to say that before you said that. I was thinking that because I'm like, just because for whatever reason, and this is just a moment, it's not going to be like this forever. You're not, it's just a moment where you are right now with, your spots at the cellar. But yeah, Gotham gives you love. Go where the love is. Like, you're in the city, you're working, you're a working comic, and then boom, the don't tell comes out. And what we do to ourselves a lot is we don't always see ourselves how other people see us.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, to you, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling, I'm doing this, this, and this. And then someone's like, oh my God, I want to don't tell. Erica got her don't tell. So, like, and people
Yeah.
aren't going to tell you this necessarily in the social media world that we live in. But like, there are people that want what you have. Like, and not in a way that's like coveting my neighbor's goods, like, but in
Oh
a
yeah,
way
yeah, yeah.
that's like, oh wow, I want her kind of career that she works, in both places, and she does this and she does that. So it's hard when we feel like we're taking an L, when we
Mm-hmm.
really, celebrate the W's. That's what is a big one. Celebrate the wins. I do want to say about the violinist in the subway. Okay. Because my ex boyfriend used to use this a lot because he is a performer and a singer. And he was like, see, people don't appreciate it. I was like, the problem is that I'm trying to get to work. I don't have time
Yeah,
to
I
sit
mean,
here
also
and
that.
listen to like, I don't have time. I can't, like, you
Yeah,
can be amazing. Like, and I appreciate it, but I gotta get the one train.
yeah.
I
I'm
gotta
already
like,
late.
I'm running late. Like, this is not the time or place. Like, I'm not on vacation. Let the people on vacation sit here and leave you the tips and the applause. I got a job to do, buddy.
Yeah.
And so that's where I always felt about that, where like people didn't notice, but then he was at Carnegie Hall. I was like, yeah, but would he have gotten in trouble if he didn't open the bar on time? Like, I was like, I see the point, but well,
No, for
good.
sure.
I'm glad you
For
had a
sure.
good.
Also, your environment matters for sure.
Your environment matters. It is. That is funny. Well, okay. So I had a comedy show last night, and this is what's kind of been happening to me this week. So, like, my work schedule bartending is I get off the floor at 8 p.m. I get there at 11, and then I have to do the money. So, for my people that don't know what that is, I got to count the door. I have to close out my checks. make sure everything's right. And depending on how busy you get at the end of your shift, that can take about 30 minutes plus.
Mhm.
So I'm not really out there till 8:30 at night. Most shows start at 8.
Mhm.
So I find myself saying no to a lot of stuff that I would like to say yes to because of my work schedule, which is hard because it's that balance of like, I
Yeah.
got to pay rent, but also I want to do the show. And so lately I feel like I've been like running out of work to get, like last Thursday, I ran out of work to get to a show. I cut these girls off walking to the train and then I had to see them in the platform. I was like, I'm really sorry about the it's like real sorry about the cutoff. Like I had to call it out. I was like, I'm real sorry. Like I just want to apologize. Like two girls that probably like I was like, sorry about that on the street. Like I'm sorry. Cause I got like bottlenecked between one dude who wouldn't move. There was
Ugh.
construction and I was like, go. And so then last night I had a show and I was running out of work and I forgot to like do like the Z out on the drawer. That's not important, but I messed up and then I'm mad at myself and then I'm like running to the show and I
Mm.
get there and then it's like you're on in 3 minutes. And so and I was after Caitlin Palufo, who is, great and, hilarious. And it was at this luxury building. Like we're talking there was a swimming pool in this
Oh,
building, a
damn.
huge gym. Like I was like, you guys are living large. It was in the entertainment room where there was a bar and like, I feel like I got him. I did well until I did my rape joke at the end, which I happen to love. And I don't get to do that joke a lot because I'm usually hosting. And I don't personally want to do my rape joke when I'm hosting. But
Yeah.
it's a good joke where it's like I talk about I have a big walk, strong walk, and I came up behind a guy. I scared him, and he was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, I'm so sorry." He's like, "Now I know what it likes to be a woman living alone at night, walking alone at night in the city." And I was like, "Oh, well, kind of." I'm like, and then I raped him. I was like, "That's actually how it feels like to be a woman walking alone at night in the city." Okay, it goes. And I do a whole act out about how I walk big and I walk like I'm on an elliptical machine and I bark like a
Yeah.
dog if I don't have my mace, because crazy doesn't fuck with crazy. Like that's the whole and they were into it. They were into it until
Yeah.
the end. And then I like addressed it with the whole I was like, so why didn't we like that? We didn't like that. We tightened up. We didn't like it. I was like, let's just call it. Who cares?
It's
Like
just because
let's
the word rape got said. It's not actually literally a rape joke. I wouldn't even call it a rape joke, but
yeah,
yeah.
it's just and I said, you guys don't feel that way? Like when you're like and then I kind of felt like maybe I got a little deep, but I was like, when you're walking alone at night as a dude, you worry about getting beat up or worried
You
about
were
getting
mugged.
mugged.
Yeah.
You don't worry about getting raped. That's not
Mm.
something on your radar. This is why I get so passionate about it because I'm like, you don't know what it's like. You don't have the same feeling. Like you can replace those things. This is so anyway, then I had to end on a different joke. And I was like, can't just end here, big dismount. Can't leave these people like this. And so, gosh. But anyway, so then I was like, you know what? At least I stood by it. At least I and in my head, this is what we do as comics. We're like, oh, but why did I have to end on that joke?
Yeah. It just
But then I'm
sucks.
like,
Especially
you
when you're
know
having a
what?
great set. You're like, oh, they liked me. What did I
It.
do? I ruined it.
I did. I feel like it was like, but oh, stand up, and now it's funny because like I've been spending time with a guy and it's kind of funny because he's like, oh, I don't know if I want to like go to a show and then like hear jokes about him. And I was like, I
Oh, it
actually told him,
doesn't
I was
work
like,
that quick.
I know. I said, you're not going to hear jokes about you. You're going to hear jokes about all the other people I've dated.
Yeah.
Like that.
Your jokes about other guys.
I was like, I don't want you to hear those either. Like, I was like, ah. And there has been funny stuff, but I was like, I will run it by you because this is what people think, I guess, that we're just going to write jokes and roast you. I don't want to roast you.
Mm.
I like you. I want to lift you up. I don't want you to feel bad
Yeah.
about yourself. I want to put you in the best light. Like even when friends come to shows and they're like, "Oh, are you going to roast me?" I'm like, "You're my friend." No, like,
No. Or it's
yeah,
like, if you watch comedy, it's like the joke, if there's a joke that is inspired by you or you said something or you're a part of it in any way, only you will know.
yeah,
Only you will know. I'm not even in the joke being like, my friend Teresa. It's just my friend. It's just my
yep,
friend. It's just my
hmm
friend. Maybe I'll say your job. My friend who's a bartender. Like, you'll know it's you, but I don't say you.
I even
You
put
know what I mean?
something.
I don't, it's
Mhm.
not enough identification that it's only you and you will know yourself.
Yes,
But it's funny you
specifically.
say that comment because, like, I'm more conscious if a guy was to come to a show, I'm more conscious about my bits about dating
Yeah.
than if I was to do a joke about him.
Mhm.
Because I'm the type, like, if something was about me, I'd be like, oh shit, that's so me. I'd be like, oh god, that's so me. They nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Oh.
And well, yeah, because then you have to go through like, oh, I guess you dated so and so, or not that this person would do that for me, but then I'm like, well, you're gonna hear the backstory, and hey, I got to do the
I'd,
jokes that work. Like these jokes have been working. Like,
or I'd be a little like, wow, I sound single as fuck on stage. I'm just
you
like,
know
wow,
what?
a lot of my act is about dating. That it's like, this girl's been single a long time.
You know what I did do once? Okay, so the ex-boyfriend, performer comic. So when we were dating, I had my friend came to one of the shows, and his bits are still about when he was married and like his wedding. And I'm like, you've been
Yeah.
divorced and you've been separated for like 5, 6 years. So I did say, I was like, maybe can you not do those jokes at this show that my friends were at? Like, and he got
Yeah.
offended, and I was like, okay, I guess I can't say that. But also maybe write some new jokes. Like, I don't know. Like,
Right. You got to burn them at some point.
I mean, I was like, they're okay. We get them, but like this is yeah. So so
Well,
that
like,
was
you
fun.
know what? I've
Mhm.
been with comics that like had a long-term relationship, not even married, and recently go through a breakup, and they're like, "Oh, I need to start saying my ex-girlfriend on stage
Mhm.
to like help them also get over it."
Oh,
Cuz
a
I'm like,
comic
"Oh,
after a
that's
breakup. Oh,
oh
when you
yeah.
see these dudes, that's where they get it out.
Oh.
You're like, oh,
Oh.
you are, oh. We go to therapy. We talk to
Oh.
our friends. We have wine. We go on power walks. They get on stage and they're like, oh, like
Oh, that's where they're so sad.
it is.
But
It comes out.
oh,
Mhm.
for me, I was like, man, I never dated anyone, I guess, long enough that I had in relationship bits
Mhm.
that I'm like, man, I need a combo of some in relationship material. You know what I mean? Like,
You can
like
just
oh,
fake it, make it up. Actually, I put a joke on like because if you put it on Facebook, my Facebook goes to my threads, which I forget.
mm,
And then I got some heat for some threads this week. By the way, let's get to that,
really?
man. Yeah, well, and I did a joke. I wrote something last night. I was like, dating in your 40s is just two people telling each other what their issues are and then exchanging HBO and Hulu passwords, which is basically what it is. And people felt bad. Like someone was like, "Don't worry, you'll find your person." I was like,
Oh
"Oh no,
my
this is
god.
funny because this is true." Like it's like, okay, so what's your stuff? And then like, oh, you don't have HBO? Oh, well, you should watch the chimpanzee show. Here's my password. And I was like, yes. And so, yeah, I was like, well, that's kind of, that's like, this is going to go somewhere when you start exchanging
Oh, that's so
passwords
funny.
or
I,
yeah.
I actually wrote a thread, and I'm like, I don't really tweet or thread that much or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but I was at a winery show,
Mm-hmm.
and I tweeted, I said, don't be fooled. No man at a winery is single. It's
True.
like,
That's true.
men don't
Yeah.
go to
No one's,
wineries.
no,
Men
they're
go to
not. No.
breweries. They don't go to
Mm-hmm.
wineries. That's not a single male trip happening. Because I was looking around and I'm like, everyone's here because they're here with a woman. This is so. If some man was like chatting me up, I'm like, who are you here with? This is not a single male
That's true. Do you think
adventure.
it's the same with like Napa? If you went to like a fancy, do a bunch of dudes go on a trip to wine country together? Is that something they
I
do?
have never heard
I
of
really
a group
haven't
of
either.
dudes doing this without their wives. That's why I'm like, that's a man that has strayed away if I'm suddenly being chatted to. Unless you own the winery, sir. But even then, I'd be
Hmm.
a little like, what's going on?
Where
I'd be
where are
I'd
those
be
grapes?
skeptical.
What's the grape varietal over here? Um,
Yeah, I'd be like,
that is,
maybe if you work there, I'd believe it. But
uh-huh.
if anything, I'm like, maybe that's what we should be telling single men to go. There's often groups of women here hanging out.
Yeah, you
If you go to a
should.
bar, like a beer place, that's single men. Single men are chilling at
Y-
the beer spot, but there's something
Yep,
to
that's
wineries. I'm
where,
like, this
like
isn't
my bar. It's just grown men talking to grown men, making friends with grown men.
exactly.
Actually, I had to work this week. I had to work. I had covered my coworker is in a play, and so I covered his shift, and I worked from 7 p.m. till 4 a.m. on Saturday. And that when at once like 1 a.m. hits, you're like, go home, everybody. You're just like, it's so like bars are, and I was surprised how many people didn't realize bars are open till 4 a.m. in New York City. They were like, why are you there
It's
till 4? I was
wild.
like, they're open till 4 a.m. They're legally allowed to be open.
That's
So
crazy.
I'm in the cab. I had a little buzz on. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like you kind of do a little like drinking while you're just a little bit to keep you awake and keep you like, in the game. And so I took a cab home 4:45 a.m. and my cab driver wouldn't shut up. like just chatty McChatterson.
Wow.
Dude just didn't. And this is where it becomes challenging as a woman, because if you say, hey, I don't really feel like talking, he's going to come with some comment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to say he's going to call me a bitch, but like also read the room. I'm alone. It's 4:45 a.m. You're asking me what I do for work. And then this is the kicker. He was like, "Oh, do you have a family?" I was like, "Yeah, I have family." He's like, "Oh, do you have kids?" I said, "No." Because people like to ask you these questions. And I said, I don't. And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, why don't you want them? But don't you want them? Why don't you?" This is not
Oh my
appropriate
God.
for 4:45 in the morning. And you know what? It's never actually appropriate to ask somebody if they have kids or if they don't as a woman. Like, maybe I lost a child. Maybe I can't have kids. Maybe I choose
Mm.
to just not have them. Maybe I have 15 kids. Like, you don't know. There's so many different variables. And I was a little heated. Then I was like, I'm not giving him a good tip. Like, honestly, your tip is to shut up. That's your tip. Like, I don't want to keep talking to you. Like, now you've offended me. I just want to get in my door. And so I wrote a
Ugh.
thread about it. Like, and then people commented, well, you should have just, instead of whining about it on social media. And I don't usually respond, but I said, well, I should have told him to shut the F up. Like, I'm about to tell you, Chunky, or whatever his name was. His name was like Chuck or something. And I couldn't, because I was like, listen, I hold it in. And then I was like, once, and my foot's already twitching. See, my foot's twitching under the chair.
Yeah.
I'm getting fired up as it is. I'm going to have to listen to some Eye of the Tiger. Put on some Mama Said Knock You Out. Put on my LL Cool J Get My Guns Out. Like, I was heated because I was like, no, don't sit there and say what I should and should not say. These are inappropriate questions that you should not ask a woman.
Mm.
And don't hear and flip it on me. Well, what you should have said was, and I'm like, no, you keyboard heroes. I was like, you shut up. And so I did. I was like sitting there and I was like, not letting this one go. Nope. I was like,
Ugh.
listen, I was like, because I will destroy you online. No. So that was a moment, Erica. That was a moment.
No, well, usually cab drivers and Uber drivers are on the phone because that helps them like stay awake, I think. But they're usually on the phone. Like I'm like, who are they talking to? It's usually to other Uber or cab drivers.
Egypt. They were calling Egypt. Now, don't you feel
Or
like they're calling
wherever.
this guy was from
That
Egypt.
or family that lives in another country. Typically,
Mhm.
that's like those are the three options. But I've asked before because I am always curious. Or it's funny sometimes they'll hang up the phone right when I get in, and I'll be like, and I'll openly be like, "Oh, I don't care. You could talk on the phone. It's fine." Like I'm like, I don't mind because I'm just like I don't really want to be talked to.
I want to talk.
I'm
I've been
hoping to,
talking
like,
all night.
you go ahead and talk to your boo. Like one person said boo thing, and I said, you can go ahead and talk to boo thing. I don't mind. He's like, no, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be rude. I said, it's okay. You can call boo thing. I don't mind.
Wait, do you remember?
And then I said, unless you want to use me as an excuse to hang up on boo thing, I
Oh.
said, then go right ahead. I was like, I'm not trying to, get
I'm not
involved.
trying to overstep boo thing. Wasn't our one Uber driver attractive when he stood up? Was it coming back from Croatia?
But Croatia, everybody's attractive. It's insane.
No, in New York.
But
and we were both like, oh, I think the one when we were going to
yeah,
the airport, that we were both like,
yeah,
oh,
it's
like,
oh,
excuse me.
Hello, where are you going?
Oh.
No, but it's interesting. It's like very much agree with you. I'm assuming many things, especially child questions, but it's almost like the whole we shouldn't assume things then causes us to be more offensive sometimes, where it's like, I'm not saying women that have kids can't be out till 4 a.m., but the odds are low that you are. So,
That's
like,
true.
a woman
true.
who gets in a cab by herself at 4 a.m. probably isn't a mother of three. Like, probably isn't, that he's like, oh, do you have kids? And you say, no. In my head, I'd go, that tracks.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't follow up with, why? Why not? My response probably would be like, I don't know, man. It's 4 a.m. and I'm in a cab. Does it seem like I have the lifestyle that says, I really want a baby? I really want something to be taken care of.
You picked me up at the pizza place. That's where I was, on the corner. It wasn't in front of a hospital. I'm not wearing scrubs. I didn't just do the night shift. I'm in jeans and right in front of the old pizza place. Yeah. Like in a way that I still had my like wits. But yeah, that's really funny. Actually, I may have to steal that. Does it seem like I have? Yeah.
Sometimes that's when I go, I don't care if I look bad. I would almost be like, oh, because I'm very selfish. I like that my life is all about me. And then I'd be like, I'm going home to a studio apartment. Where am I going to put a baby? Like, eat your words, bitch. Like,
yep. And then, oh gosh, I remember one time I got hit on. in an Uber. Okay. I try to make this bit on stage. I haven't done this one in a while, but this is true. I was doing a show in Connecticut at the Funny Bone, and I took an Uber from the train station, and we started chatting about football. And the Uber driver and he was a guy, he was older, like 25 years older. And this is the thing, uh, men take shots at women that you're like, no, man, we're not in the same, we might be in the same book, not the chapter. Like we are not in the same,
Yeah.
like where he has said that we should hang out sometime, him and I. And I said, I'm good. I should have just said I had a boyfriend, but I think it already came up that I wasn't married and I was single. And I said, I'm good. And he goes, oh, okay, lesbian. And I was like,
Oh,
oh.
stop.
And I was like, how did we jump to that? Like, how did we?
Because for you
Because
to
you can't accept the
possibly
no.
reject him.
Yep. I couldn't possibly reject somebody that is 20 some years older than I am. Like, so then I was like, you know it. I just went along with it then. I was like, you know it, man. Yeah, love the
Yeah.
ladies. Like, I was just like, come on, man. And
Oh,
so, yeah, I was like, yeah.
oh my
So
God.
it is.
That's male ego for you.
Oh, that was, yeah. I was like, that was big.
Oh, that's like with like, terrible internet comments, because that's such the shitty thing with like, I need to be putting more clips up, just more stuff online. I've really been bad at that because, to be honest, I love comedy and I love being funny and making people laugh. And like the shift to social media has been such a thing that has made me actually like really not like comedy for many reasons. Cause it's like, oh man, now it's like we have a third job we have to do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh,
And that
it
doesn't
used to be just
pay
get funny on
unless,
stage. I know, right? So I'm like, and I've been resistant to it. I'm not gonna lie, and it's made me be like, do I even want to do comedy? Because now it feels like, oh, it's not being funny on stage anymore. Now it's, can I be funny online and get followers? And once I do that, now it's, am I funny on stage? Because now people are gonna come see me be funny on stage. Anyway, but now I'm like, all right, Erica, you got to do the social media. Let's do it. Let's put up the clips. My set came out. I got 2 great clips from that set. I'm gonna cut more. Like, we got to do it. We got to put up the clips. You got to put your jokes out there. And you get, immediately I was like, I'm gonna get comments from men. You always do. Especially I'm doing a joke. I'm like, men should pay for dates.
I
Immediately I'm
love
like,
that joke.
thank you. They don't listen to the joke. They just hear one thing they don't like, commenting. And immediately people are commenting things like, I wouldn't pay for her date. She looks like she doesn't eat salad. I'm like, okay.
Ew, see,
Whatever.
what is this nose?
And I really don't read comments often, right? But it's like, you see one from time to time. You see the men riled up in the comments. But what's also so funny is like, men have never had to deal with the meanness of women. Like, I should do a bit about this, actually, I was thinking about. So I guess we're kind of in our bit segment here.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit segment. Where it's like, I am a woman. I have gone through the meanness of middle school women.
Oh my god.
That it's like, men, you think your insults that are basically just calling us fat or, ooh, you think I'm gay? Try me. You think that's gonna knock me? That's basic bitch shit. Women, like, men play checkers, women play chess. The psychological warfare I have gone through in middle school and high school of the meanness of teenage girls, like, male comments are nothing. They are not even close. Men think you can make a mean comment about me, I would fucking destroy you. And it's especially crazy when I saw the clips on Facebook, the people commenting there, the men, I'm like, not only can I see a full picture of you in your little like thumbnail, but also like you have a daughter in it. I could like click your thing, go to your Facebook, and like I see all this stuff about you. It's like, oh, I actually can see your whole identity in person. It's like, it's just crazy that I'm like, oh, you are fully attaching this to like your identity, and you're making comments about people like this on the internet. And like the best you had was like, you think I'm fat?
Yeah, good.
You think I'm a little manly? I'm like, watch my set. I talk about that. I'm like,
yeah. Well, I think that's, oh my god, you should write a bit about that because it is so
It's
true. Middle
crazy.
school girls, like it is so my niece is in middle school and it's just like it reminds me because like I got kicked out of the lunch table. The girls get cliquey and then
Oh
they
yeah.
straight up were like, you can't sit with us. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And it was just like, now I just couldn't sit with them because they decided I couldn't sit with them. And I'm like,
Yeah, my seat
that
got
is
taken.
so mean. Seat taken. But I was like, that is so mean. And like then they kept doing it to everybody. And then my one friend came back around and was like, I'm sorry, that was really awful. I did that. And I'm like, yeah, why? Like, it's just, yeah, mean
Ugh.
girls. So then you're like, also, you know what I say too is like, whatever you say is not worse than I've already thought about myself.
I mean, also
So
that.
good luck. Good luck
Also
with your,
that.
ooh, yeah. And so that
But
is
it's
fun.
just like, if a man calls me fat, I'm like, do you know what it's like to be a woman? We all like think we're fat.
Yeah.
Like we all already think that, and it's just like, okay, I'm fat. You think I'm ugly? What else? Especially when they're like, I wouldn't fuck her. It's like, oh, buddy, you thought I wanted to fuck you?
Yeah.
This is so sorry. What? Especially when they
Wow.
have a picture available. I'm like, oh, okay,
Oh, you think we're in the same? Okay. Okay.
okay,
In the
yeah,
same.
yeah.
Yep.
Some
Hmm.
old ass man being like, I wouldn't get with her. Oh, yeah, you
Could
were
you
on my radar, sir. Okay,
But could
sure.
you imagine saying that? Like, let's just like
To
dig into
anybody,
the to anybody, like saying like, "Oh, well, she's fat." Like, you're a grown man and you have a daughter. Like, or even if you don't, like, could
nuts.
you like saying that to somebody is so it's just so mean. It's just like get a
It's
life,
ridiculous.
go get a hobby, go do something. Like go, yeah. And
Yeah,
I think men should pay for. This is why I feel this way about men paying, especially at the beginning. Okay, because then once it kind of filters out a little bit, then yeah, I get it.
that's what my
But
joke is. The beginning.
it's
I
the
didn't say
beginning.
forever. I
Mhm.
said the first couple dates, and men are like, "Oh, just atrocious." I'm like,
Yeah, oh,
please,
atrocious. That's a word I grew up on.
please.
Well, also the upkeep of women these days. Okay. Like I started for the first time, I got my nails done in the gel when we went to Croatia because I didn't want them to chip. And they're my nails, but I got them done. And then when I got my feet done with the gel, I was like, oh, this lasts longer. And I feel good when I have my toes. That's not cheap, people. You go in there and
No,
that's $90 every time, every 2 weeks that you could spend on that. I got some grays floating like on the side. I mean, I am at that age, plus I pluck them, and you're not supposed to do that. But
oh no, don't pluck them. You
I
got to cut them.
know, but sometimes they
Oh
stick
my
up.
gosh.
And so I'm
No, they
getting
grow back
I
worse.
know, and
They
I'm
grow up
getting a
like
little
straight up.
highlight situation Monday from my girl. She always blows my hair out too. It makes me feel
Oh,
so
nice.
good. And but that costs money. You know, if you get any kind of wax, that costs money. Like there's a lot of price to pay to look good.
Hmm.
Now, if you want to split the bill every time, I'll show up in my 3X t-shirt and we can do this shit. And I can show up with no makeup, my fanny pack, and a basketball, like, or
Yeah,
whatever, you know, like I will just show up, but I want to look nice. And that's all part of it, the effort. Like,
that's
yeah.
literally the point of my bit. Is like men want us to look good.
Mhm.
Men all say we're visual creatures.
Yeah.
Visual is part of it. We're visual creatures. Okay, we've accepted that part of the deal as women. We've accepted
Mhm.
that men are visual creatures. We accepted a man would not want a first date with us unless they were physically attracted to us. So we've accepted our end of the bargain. And we
Mhm.
do things to keep up our maintenance in certain ways.
Like moisturizing my elbows. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because
No, it's all
the
good.
new guy came over and I was at the beach and like I got this new Amazon dress and it was funny. It's like it looks like I'm going to Hawaii and and it was funny because I was like perfect September pics, even though it's like a total beach dress. But like he came over and we were just chilling here, just like we were watching something. But I was like, oh, I got to moisturize my skin. I got to look good. Now, if Teresa was just rolling out, whatever, she wouldn't be moisturizing the skin. Like, you know, if I had a friend just coming, I'd
Yeah.
be like, let me put on my drawstring shorts and a big
Uh,
tee. But I was like, oh, let me look good. And I was like, I'm in my dress era. Let me act like this is how I am all the time, even though we know it's not. But yeah, I was like, let me just, but that's the effort. You know, you want to put
mm-hmm.
the effort, you know, like light a candle and shit, you know, make it look set the ambiance. But
Well,
yeah.
here's the other argument I make. A lot of times, women will spend their money increasing the guy's appearance as well. Because a lot of times men don't give a shit about a lot of that stuff.
Hmm.
We'll be the one like buying them some new clothes, getting them a face cream, being like, hey, here's some ways you can take care of yourself and improve. Because a lot of times men just don't give a shit about appearance stuff. Some men do, some do, but it's pretty rare. They're like, I
Hmm.
feel like any guy I ever dated, I'm the one like teaching them a little bit of basic skincare, being like, you should wear a little sunscreen on your face every day. They're like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
okay. Like, because they just don't know. They don't know that world. So I feel like a lot of times that's where like I spend my money in the relationship is
Hmm.
like nice gifts and things like that. And they appreciate it. And they're always like, wow, like people usually don't treat me to things like this. Like if I see a shirt I think would look really great on them and like a good color or something, I'll be like, oh, this would look really nice on you. And I treat in those ways. And men really appreciate that. And they'll always say, like, wow, like this is so thoughtful. And they like hold on to those things. and they feel really great and like cherished and appreciated in those ways. So I'm like, a lot of times that's when I go, women, spend your money. If they're like, I don't really like how he dresses, I'm like, well, your opportunity is times you can give them gifts. You know, you can easily change a man's wardrobe. You know, you can't change the person. You could easily get them a new fucking shirt. It's not that hard.
That's funny. I don't think I'm not. That's such a sweet thing to do with the skincare. This one has like a whole skincare regime. I think he's got great skin. Like
See, but usually that comes
yeah.
from ask him, ask him. I would bet that came from a past woman.
I wonder who did that. I do have to ask him about that. But I don't know if I would ever. No, I have gotten like, oh hey, here's some t-shirts that I know you like. But I let them do their style. You know, like oh
Yeah, I
that's
don't usually do
their
too much. But like, you know, it's an easy thing where you're just like, hey, I thought this would look good on you. Like
Mhm.
men feel good about that. They're like, oh, she thinks I look hot in this. And then they'll wear it every day the rest of their life.
Yeah. Like you said, you liked this, so I'm wearing it again.
Yeah, you know?
Mhm.
Because usually they're not very fussy. Some guys I've dated, if they're very into style, then they're fussy. Then it's like, okay, don't tread.
Yeah, that's a.
I was gonna say, I mean, you were talking about what did we talk about the last episode with the new guy? You went out again, or kind of first date-ish? You were talking about the leftovers. I know that.
Oh, the left. Well, we this also happened. So we went and watched football on Sunday,
Oh,
and
cute.
that was cool. We watched because he does play fantasy, and so I made him watch the Steelers with me. And then okay, this was funny. So I went up and I was like, they have really good boneless buffalo wings because I wasn't ready to go in bone.
Oh yeah, yeah,
In front
yeah.
of
That's
him
smart.
because
Yeah, you pick a boneless
listen,
place.
I am a messy eater, Erica Spera. Remember on our trip, I needed like 30 napkins. I am messy. This is who I am. I was like, why you just give me one napkin? Like, I need a
Oh
stack of
yeah.
napkins. Like, and that's where I'm getting a little self-conscious because maybe I'm not as domesticated as everybody else. Like, I'm like, okay. So I was like, okay, well, he started a tab with his credit card, which I gotta say turns me on. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I went to get my card out. He goes, no, I'm here. And I was like, oh, thank you. And because we know what I'm used to. And so I went up and then ordered I was like, we're gonna do 12 boneless buffalo wings, extra carrot, celery, and blue cheese. And he's like, do you like ranch? I was like, we can do ranch as well. And he's like, do you want it tossed in the sauce? I was like, toss it in the sauce. So
Yeah,
we're
hell
watching
yeah.
the game. And then like 10 minutes later, this massive plate of wings on bone, in bone, whatever the word is, comes out. And like the waiter's like looking to see where it goes. And the server and I'm like, are those ours? Like we were both like, are these? And so we claimed them, but that's not what we ordered. Like I did
Oh
not mess
shit.
the order up. And so we both just looked at each other and I was like, well, no one else is claiming these. Like, should we just eat them? So like we went in. So there I was just in bone, just in
You're like,
bounds in
well,
bone,
go for it.
making a mess. But it was more than 12. It was like, I think it was like 25 wings. I mean, it was a decent
Oh.
amount of wings. And so we were both laughing because it was like we could have spoken up, but then I didn't want to be like, well, what are we going to do? I mean, let's just eat them, you know? So
Yeah.
he was like, are you going to take these home? I was like, yeah, I'm taking these home. We got to box these up. We are not leaving the
I'm taking the wings, baby.
I was like, what do you mean you're not? I was like, he's like, even the blue cheese? And I was like, yeah, put a lid on that. There's a lid there on the ramekin. So like he got a to-go box. And then I was like, on my way to the bathroom, I was like, we got to get a bag because the sauce is going to drip. We need a bag for the wings. And so he was laughing because I was like, you're going to get home and wish you had some of these wings. So
Yeah, I did.
exactly. And and they lasted for 2 days because I had like 4 here, 4 there, maybe 2 standing up in front of my sink. And so I was laughing because I was like, I get the to-go box every time. This is great. I was like, you fight over the to-go box where you're like, okay, who gets what? Like,
See, this is the debate I feel like when the man's paying.
oh, I will give it to him if he's paying. Yeah.
Is it because especially if you're sharing? But I feel that's where I'm like, do you want the leftovers? I at least offer the leftovers, even if it's mine. If I'm like, oh, do you want to take these? And if they're
See,
like, no, 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 it's all yours. You take them. I'm like, okay, I'm
I'm
taking them.
coming from a relationship that we used to split everything, split dinner, split.
Mm.
And one time we went to Carmine's and we got the steak. And it's like $150
Oh,
the steak, but
it's like
they
the
have
porterhouse, right?
it is. It's big, and then they have all the sides. They have sausage, potatoes. I mean, it's good.
It's family
But
style though. That
if
place, big
family
portions.
style, Carmine's. But if we're splitting this, I get a
Yeah.
sausage too. I want it just as much. Mama wants some steak. Like,
Yeah,
you don't
hell
get
yeah.
to take the big piece of steak. No, not the Chris Rock bit. If we're split, Papa what's the big piece of chicken or whatever it is.
Mhm.
No, we split this shit. I get to take mine home as well.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so that's what's funny. But if someone paid for it, I would give it to them. Like, you get to take
They
the
get first dibs for sure.
make it
If
first
they paid.
dibs.
If they
I
paid.
paid.
They
Um,
split. I'll cut that steak in half. Damn right.
oh, I'll tear it up with my teeth. And then
Dude,
oh
you know
my
what
god.
happened once? I was out with this guy, and he made less than me, and I didn't really care. And I remember we were like out. I think I had a show, and then this is like years ago, and it was after my show. I was a little hungry, and we're walking around the West Village. It was like beautiful, like kind of fall night, and I was like, oh, let's like get a little food pop into this place. And he said something like, money's a little tight right now, and I was like, don't worry about it, I got it. I was the one that was hungry, so I was like,
Mhm.
whatever. Like I'll get some, like get an entree, let's split it. Like who cares? Because it was just like we're having a nice night. Let's get a little
Yeah,
food,
yeah.
And at the time, I was literally working 3 jobs, so I was like, I got it. I had cheap rent, 3 jobs. I was like, why am I busting my ass to not enjoy a night like this?
Mhm.
So we have this nice dinner. We're having this nice time. I pay. We leave. We're like getting on the train. We get on the train. This dude goes, oh, that's what that smell is. I'm like, what? He goes, the other day, he's like, you smelled like something. I didn't know what it was. He goes, it was the E train. It must have been the E train. I was like, did you just tell me I smelled like the subway? He goes, well, I mean, it was probably like your coat or something. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I just paid for fucking dinner and we're having this nice night. And you are telling me I smelled like the train. And I just go,
Oh.
but I don't say that. I just go, okay. And I
Mm.
was just dead silent and like not lovey, not touchy. And I was like, I'm just going to make you sweat. And
Yeah.
then he was like, then in a panic, like trying to like kind of be jokey, this and that. And I just was sitting there like, I can't believe this motherfucker. I just paid for dinner. I'm just having a nice night. Like, I'm like, when someone treats me to a nice night, I'm not making some comment like that.
Yeah.
And we're going back to my place that you're staying at because he didn't live in New York. So I was like, okay. I was like, you stay with me when you're in town. We have this nice little thing. Okay. I was like,
Mm.
that's great. I feel really appreciated right now. I'm like, you're going to tell me I smell like a train, a subway?
Did he
Thanks.
apologize? Like, what was he doing PR work then? Like, no, I didn't mean
Yeah.
it like that. And then you're
Yeah.
like, you get back to your apartment, you're like, I got to shower because I got to get the E train off me. Okay, you
Yeah.
should just. Oh my gosh, no,
Then I
no.
was like, what? And also, we got on the train. It's not like it smelled like awful, but I was just like, what? And those are just moments when I'm like, this is why you guys pay because you're fucking idiots sometimes. Like, it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
I'm like,
It's
you guys don't know how to be the princess. That's why. That's why you pay. You don't know how to fucking act right. That's why. Like, women know how to be like, okay, I could like be, maybe wait to bring up that thing I was annoyed with you yesterday because like we had a nice night tonight. You know what I mean? I know how to like keep a lid on it if I'm annoyed with something. Like,
Listen,
oh,
I
you
know
know
how to.
what? I could tell you had a long day or you worked hard and we had this nice night out or like we're with your family. I know how to be on my best behavior, but this shit was ridiculous. I remember I only answered, he said like, what stop are we getting off? And I was like, oh, I know what stop I'm getting off at. I don't know when you're getting off. Like, I was
Ooh,
like, I was about to be
yes,
like, you can
girl.
go somewhere else. Like, are you crazy? I was
You
like,
can ride the E train all night. You can live there
yeah. I
because.
was like, eh.
Oh,
I
oh
was
my
like, find a
god.
place to lay down. It's not gonna be in my house.
Oh, that's awful. Oh god.
The
And then you're like,
fuck?
that's the one thing. Like when we do like the side bend, like we were doing some obliques in class this morning in workout class. But I was like, it's like you do this side bend to reach for your purse, and then you're like, oh, you got it? Okay, I'll roll back up. And then you do like a little, oh, I'm sorry. Let me get some cleavage out. Now let's just lean in on the table. Well, thank you so much. Like I overthink. He did tell me, he's like, you've thanked me because he got me some eyeglass lenses from his work. It was very, very sweet. Like it's very, very nice. And
That's nice, yeah.
I thanked him. I wear glasses at night. And so I thanked him, I guess, too many times. He's like, you've already thanked me 3 times. I was like, okay. I'm just gonna thank you again. Like I just can't.
Yeah.
Like I just want to. I'm a thanker. But yeah, because I guess we know how to butter you up. We
Well,
appreciate.
listen, I mean, he clearly likes you.
I'm appreciative.
Well, like I said, he clearly likes you. And when people like you, they want to do nice things for you. I mean, we're the same. We do nice
Mhm.
things for people we like, we're into, or our friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's good to see. You know, like I said, you're a special person. You deserve somebody doing
Oh
special
my
things for you.
gosh. Thank you, Erica. Positive affirmations. Positive what are
Well, you
some
said
of
he
our
brought you a coffee to work. I'm like, he doesn't live near where you work. That's like so nice.
well, he works near where I work. And
Oh,
so
but
he came
still.
and even he took a class yesterday, workout class, and then dropped in for the coffee and was like, now we've established what coffee I like. And so it's nice. It's very that gesture for me, I love that. Like for me, I think it's about like the little gestures that I appreciate, like the little things that yeah, more so than the big things. Like if you buy me a big handbag, I'm not going to really not that it won't be nice, but like I'm more, yeah,
Well,
not
it also, I
materialistic.
think it also just shows he wanted to see you. It's a nice,
Mhm,
like, oh, I'll get to see you for a minute. It's
mhm.
very sweet.
It's
I love
very
that.
nice. And then I reapplied the lipstick, I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry, you're on your way. Excuse me." I have a jar of lipsticks at work that I have. You know that they're all like Wet and Wild, 98 cents, from
Hell
Walmart.
yeah.
Love them. So wait, so okay, so that was okay, talking to God. You talked to God. I talked to God this week. I went to the beach on Monday and there wasn't many people there. And it was just really just beautiful, So just like the usual, just showing the gratitude, guide me in the right direction stuff, etc. So that was more, my stuff this week. Yeah. But I'm trying to think what are other segments. Oh, entertainment news. Oh, did you see T Swift dancing with some Travis Kelce at the US Open? Once again, we're gonna get
Yes,
to
I
that later.
did.
So never mind. That's like
Do you feel like it's performative because there was all the rumors that they're supposed to break up? Because
I
sometimes I feel
know
like she's a bit performative with the dancing and stuff. It's a little over the top for me at times. I'm sorry to the Swifties. But
that
like especially
okay.
in that environment, I'm like, the music's not the focus of the event. It feels a
Mhm.
little to me it's a little extra there.
It was. Well, did you notice Brittany and Patrick Mahomes were like right beside them and no one cares?
Yeah, that's where I'm like, you know where I would believe it more? If she seemed drunk. Do you know what I'm
Maybe
trying to
she
say?
was.
But
She
that's
was
where her
drinking the honey
fans come
deuce.
to try to say. They're like, she's probably just a little drunk. Like that's what they like. They're like, oh, with Travis, she can like be a little drunk and loose, like blah blah. And I'm like, she's not sloppy enough for me to believe she's truly like drunk. Do you know what I mean? Like I would actually like to see Taylor really be sloppy dancing like that at the US Open where I'm like, that girl's having a damn good time, really enjoying her life. Is
I
that
think
messed up to say?
no, I think I can see why you thought it was performing because it was. It was, and whoever was in front of them, like this is what I have the question of: do they know the people in front of them? Because you're like, oh, because she was trying to jam out too, and I was like, girl, no one's looking at you. Put your hands down. Like she was singing "Thing Called Love," and she was like, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, 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 we're behind you. Also, if Taylor Swift was behind me at the U.S. Open, I would just, oh my gosh, like what would you? Yeah, I would have a hard time
Hmm.
focusing, um, just in
I
general.
just
But
do you know what I mean? We're all been in the room where you're like, that person's clearly hammered. Where they're the
mhm,
one person dancing, really chucking it up. You're like, they've been drinking all day. I don't know what day they're having, but like good for them. I
mhm,
didn't get that vibe on this one. This one felt a little too performative for me. She's a little too all over him, too a little, like a
mhm.
little too is a little too calculated for me. I respected the Grammys when she gets up and she's dancing because she knows what it feels like to perform at those events.
Yep.
And people are like kind of stiffly just sitting there watching and she's like, we're seeing all these musical people, the hottest songs of the time, and like we're basically getting a dope ass concert of everybody. Guys, get up and support. Like we all know what it's like to perform, and to perform to a crowd that sucks is the fucking worst. We know what that's like in stand
Mhm.
up, where you're like, can you people get into this? The fuck am I doing this for?
Yep. That's such a good point. I always thought that with the Grammys, where I like the fact that she got up and danced because I don't like when people act like they're too cool for school. Like
Yeah.
so and so's in front of you. Don't like get up and have a
Yeah.
good time. Like you do this. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I agree. That's funny. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
The and then people will say I'm being judgy of how much she's dancing, but I'm like, it was too extra for me at the US Open. I was like, all right, uh, this is performative.
Well,
So she was just kind of swaying a little bit. You're singing the words. I'm like, okay.
mhm.
But the like,
Slap on the
I don't know.
chest.
The
Mhm.
yeah, the
The
over the top
Travis
for me is
chest.
I was like, okay, okay.
Well,
I
then
you know what I found would have found more believable if he was actually a little annoyed by her dancing. If he was a little like, babe, can we? Like,
reeling it? No.
because then I'd be like, oh, she is drunk. Like, she's just
Mm-hmm.
truly drunk, having a good time. I'd like to see a little bit of like, wow, they really are a couple. Like, finally
Yeah.
seeing him a little annoyed, I'd be like, oh, I really believe this is true love and a couple. That he was like, she's finally having a break from the tour. She gets a little drunk sometimes. It is a little annoying, like where you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow, okay, all right.
Too much personality.
But the
That's what
whole
happens.
weekend was them parading around New York, conveniently after a PR leak that they were possibly planned to break up. So I'm like, she's too calculated.
I know. That's just too much. I don't know. Because I saw that. I watched I think it was Barstool Sports that broke that. And I was like, I don't know if that's true. I don't see
Yeah.
them breaking up like that. Just me personally. Not like my J-Lo and Ben. And then J-Lo was there was a premiere of her movie with Matt Damon. And then she was talking to Matt Damon at the premiere. And she did come out. I don't know if you saw that dress. It had like the
Oh, I
whole
didn't.
side was open. J-Lo looked great. As she always does. But she just I don't know, I feel like she's
wait a minute, I did, because
Yeah.
there was a Photoshop bit on her Instagram.
Oh.
Someone pointed out. I saw she photoshopped it a little bit, like badly, because a lamppost was curved.
Oh. What did they Photoshop?
I don't know. I don't know what part of it, because it wasn't the ass. It wasn't where the ass was, so it's not like she was trying to make her ass bigger. I think it was almost like they made her titties up a little more.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I get a girl. Want to make those titties look a little higher.
Just get them going.
She still looks amazing. I'm like, I don't think the woman needs Photoshop at all. Trust me. I wish I looked like J-Lo, but
Listen, I think it's great. She came out in the dress, looking hot, just like, all
yeah.
right. Like, I don't know. I think at just this point, it's kind of like, well, what you gonna do? Like, yeah.
She's a smoke. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't need the Photoshop. Trust me.
Oh, she's a dish, as they used to say. And then like grandma was a dish. When that was Nana was look at quite the dish Nana was.
But she's back on her like, I'm a boss. You can't break me. I'm fucking J-Lo.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's surprised.
She's from the Bronx. Used to drink that sandwich. You know what I'm talking about with the orange drink.
Her bodega order is such bullshit. We all know the bodega order is bullshit.
Oh gosh, it was funny. They messed up my coffee in front of the new guy, and I was like, "Yes, I will do a large 16-ounce, please, hot coffee with milk." And then I paid for it, and I went over to the section to get it, and they were like, "What did you want? An iced? What did you?" I was like, "Well, what did you charge me for?" Like, this is where I get like, I know it's like $1 differential, but this is where I get like on one, because I'm like, no, this is my coffee before my 4 a.m. shift. This is what I ordered. So he was like, I'll just bring it to you because you're like running late. And then when he showed up, it was a 12-ounce. I was like, this is not what I ordered.
Oh damn.
Which wasn't for him. It wasn't his. It was that they messed up. But I was like, like I was just, it's just kind of. And he was like, I'm sorry. Like, and so, but it was kind of funny because it was like, it's little things like that for someone who works in the service industry where I was like, I ordered the most basic thing. Like, yeah. Anyways, that's just, an insight. Too much personality. She's just coming in hot. Just
personality. No, but that would annoy me. You charge me the extra $1 because it's iced, or the extra $1 for like oat milk or something. You're like, I didn't order oat milk. I got the regular milk. Like,
what are we?
It adds up.
Coffee prices, I can't. They've really skyrocketed. That's why I get my free Panera sips. Everybody, my free sips from Panera. Coffee's not great, but it's free. So
you have to.
Yeah.
I know. Sadly, I was like, I think we have to wrap because I had to head to the chiropractor.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, it's okay. It's good. It's good that I've been doing like seeing him kind of regularly just to like make sure I'm all set. Let me tell you, I apparently need to stretch my pecs. A lot of us, if you point forward, you got to stretch the pecs. It's the hardest thing to stretch, though. Getting older. Wait, folks.
It's next week, Sebastian Maniscalco? Yes.
Is it? Oh, yeah. We're seeing Sebastian.
Yeah.
Sebastian.
Okay. Is that next? Yeah, I guess that'll be next Friday. Okay, we'll discuss.
Very excited.
I feel like we hit up all our topics. I didn't, walk it off a little bit and get fired up with my coffee. And yeah.
All right. I don't know. A little less structured today, but you know what? We have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, Erica. I'm glad we were ending on a high note today. You're going to go to the chiropractor with a good-looking blowout or whatever. The hair looks fantastic.
Oh, this is my natural. This is my natural dry.
It's very
not too
pretty.
bad. Thank you. I know. The PMS is over, everybody. You're welcome.
But join me for next week when mine shows up.
Wait till we're synced, everybody. We'll have a crying episode once a month.
This is the crying episode. I watch old episodes of 90210 and I'm like, Brandon, look what they did to her when she dies. That was a thing. This still makes me cry every time.
It would be pretty epic. We're like, and everyone save this episode for when you're PMSing and you need to cry.
And be like, oh my gosh.
That's a new title. Get synced with us. That's our pod.
Oh, that's great. Cycle up.
Cycle up, ladies.
Okay. All right. On that note, love you, hug you. Have a great time. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.